presenting. Here we go. I'm gonna talk about a show about Pat Tillman. I'm first show the clip. It's gonna be a short video mostly. I'll forget the intro already. Alright, I have to use this. I'm good. Then I'm in with the intro. I'm gonna Google Pat Tillman. I'm gonna talk about Pat Tillman. Then talk about things like I see. And that's what the media been telling you the shit for years. And right there, Pat Tillman, I said U.S. Army. Now I'm gonna show you Pat Tillman.
Pat Tillman was a symbol of heroism in the war on terror, an NFL star who left behind a $3.6 million contract and his new wife to fight for his country after the attacks of September 11th. When he died in Afghanistan on April 22nd, 2004, the Army told his family he'd been killed by enemy fire after courageously charging up a hill to protect his fellow Army Rangers. But that story didn't hold up. He was really killed by friendly fire, shot accidentally by his fellow soldiers. For the past 4 years, his family, led by his mother Mary, has been searching for answers about what really happened, beginning the day she heard the news from Pat Tillman's wife, Marie.
And she answered the phone just the way she always does. Her voice sounded just the same. And I was just sort of breathed a sigh of relief, like, oh, everything's fine. And I said, what's up? And she didn't say anything. I said, what is it? What is wrong? And she said, he's dead. And I said, who's dead? And she said, Pat's dead. Within minutes of that, the Army had sent a soldier, a young female soldier, to come tell me. And she said that he was shot getting out of the vehicle, or shot in the head getting out of the vehicle. And that's basically all she knew.
11 days later, his family held a memorial service in their hometown of San Jose, California.
Pat Tillman is a hero. He never turned his back on anyone. Not his friends, not his family, certainly not his country. And I miss my son. It's only been a week, and it ain't getting any better.
At that time, Pat's family was led to believe that he was killed by the enemy, which was reinforced when the Army awarded him a Silver Star for his, quote, gallantry in action against an armed enemy. They were told his convoy had been ambushed and he had charged up a hill, forcing the enemy to withdraw and saving the lives of his fellow Rangers. Was there any solace in the story the military told you about how courageous Pat had been?
Oh, of course, but what's interesting is the story itself seemed so contrived. Even before we knew that it was contrived, it had this contrived feel to it.
Why?
Well, the soldier, running up the ridge line, firing at the enemy, saving his men.
This is how the mother is so sad. And Pat Tillman in my style, it's sad. I'll show you more. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. What is going on there? Crappy. Nice. Sure. I just have Pat Tillman's staff. The mother is crying, depressed.
It did sound kind of.
I'm gonna leave the link.
Then, about a month later, a stunning announcement.
I'm gonna show the interview screenshots. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'll talk about more. The mother died. Hold on. The Pat Tillman's death. You know, I'm gonna show stuff more. The mother said, "This thing said how United States of America, it's more bushing. It's average. You know, more stuff."
Mortars. The soldiers say the mortars were being fired by
Probably be the best spot.
made a critical error, splitting their convoy into two groups as they moved
Look at us.
Taliban territory. It was a pretty scary situation you were driving into, and you knew it.
And we knew it. Absolutely. We can all identify that feeling that we all got as we drove into the canyon of, this is not a good spot.
This is the canyon they drove into that day. Brad Jacobson, behind the wheel of one of the Humvees, says it was dusk and hard to see.
We start to see the wall slowly climb up and get higher and higher. And the sun's setting, so there's like this gigantic shadow cast into the canyon. And all you can feel is this like ominous glow come over you. And this would probably be the best spot to boom. You know what I mean? And as soon as you're thinking that, a mortar round goes off right in between a couple of the Humvees. Then another round hits and somebody starts yelling, mortars.
The soldiers say the mortars were being fired by a handful of enemy fighters at the top of the ridge. Jacobson says his group had no idea that the other group from their unit, including Tillman, had taken up positions on a steep hill nearby in order to protect the men below. As the second convoy raced through the canyon, soldiers in the lead vehicle began firing at the hill. Unaware they were shooting at their own men, including Tillman, Russell Bear, and Jade Lane.
All of a sudden the vehicle started going around the canyon, and then they opened up again, and then that's when I realized that that's where the fire was coming from, was from the vehicle. It wasn't coming from the enemy anymore.
Pat Tillman threw out a smoke grenade as a signal, but Russell Bear says after a brief lull, the gunfire only intensified.
I considered shooting our own guys. It was, and I had actually pointed my weapon in their direction and, turned my safe elector on fire, and I was ready to engage them. You just hope for the best. I mean, you're left with nothing. You can't do anything except sit there
And scream ceasefire.
and scream and do what you've been taught. Get the ceasefire signal.
What is that
Pop
signal?
smoke. It's this. This is ceasefire.
Jade Lane and another ranger were wounded. Pat Tillman and an Afghan soldier fighting beside him, which may have caused some confusion, were killed. Based on the soldiers' accounts, Mary Tillman believes she's pieced together her son's final moments.
In the end, we feel he was hit in the chest, and he had on his body armor, but it's very powerful when you're hit like that, and it stunned him, and he went down, and then they shot him in the head 3 times.
He was screaming for them to stop.
Yeah, and he was screaming ceasefire. He was screaming his name. I'm Pat Tillman. What's wrong with you?
What about for you, the notion that his own brothers were firing on him?
Well, it's hard to take. When we heard it was a friendly fire, I felt terrible for these soldiers. We didn't go into immediate, these awful men, they need to be punished. I felt terrible for these young men. And I still do, to a degree, but I don't think it was the horrible accident that they like to play this out. I think there was huge negligence involved here.
The soldiers we spoke to, none of whom were implicated in Pat's death, say that most everyone in his unit suspected within a few days that he had been killed by friendly fire.
We knew. I just don't understand why nobody either told Pat's parents or told his brother right away. They took the honor away from what we were doing by lying to his family.
Did it seem like Pat's death was being treated differently than any other soldier's death because of his high profile?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right off the bat.
Absolutely.
Mary Tillman believes she has evidence that the Army went to extraordinary lengths to keep what really happened under wraps. She points to the fact that Pat's uniform, which according to one soldier had the marks left by American bullets, was burned, which is against Army procedure. Then there was the coroner, who refused to sign the autopsy for months because when he examined the body, he said the gunshot wounds were not consistent with the Army's original story. And remember the citation on the Silver Star, which left the distinct impression Pat had been killed by enemy fire? It was later revealed that the eyewitness statements had been altered.
What happens or what?
Army Ranger Brian O'Neill testified before Congress last spring.
Did you write these sentences claiming that you were engaged with the enemy?
No, sir.
Their testimony was altered by someone to make it appear as though Pat was killed by the enemy.
Have you figured out who changed their statements or how?
No.
We asked Pete Garrett, the new Secretary of the Army, how this could have happened. Who do you think Secretary Garrett altered those soldiers' statements when it came to that Silver Star?
Well, that's one of the questions that we will never completely answer. But it certainly is one of the areas that raises questions. There are so many mistakes, so many things that happen. If you add them all together, it certainly calls into question the credibility of those who handled this and raises the kind of questions that Ms. Tillman raises. I don't expect her ever to believe this. But there were mistakes and grievous errors by the legions. And as a result, we fell short of our duty to her as a mother of one of our heroes.
If there was no effort to deceive, why wasn't she told right away that her son's death was being investigated as a possible friendly fire incident?
She should have been, and Army policy requires that she be notified right away. This was a classified mission, and the people in the operation mistakenly believed that they were not supposed to release any of the details of the investigation. 5 days later, but we've had 7 investigations, and they have all concluded that there was no deceit, no intentional deceit.
Mary Tillman says each investigation revealed the flaws of the one before, and she chronicles her fight for answers in a new book, Boots on the Ground by Dusk. Ultimately, 6 officers and 7 rangers were disciplined for mistakes that were made in that canyon and during the subsequent. Mary Tillman is not satisfied. She says at times she hasn't known what to believe.
When you're lied to, your brain goes all over the map. And things that aren't really true can appear to be true.
What will it take to satisfy you? What do you need to know? Or what
But
information?
that's the point that everyone seems to miss. This isn't about us. It's about what they've done to the public. This was a public deception.
She believes the Bush administration needed a heroic story to bolster support for the war. You've made it very clear about your feelings toward the Bush administration and your opposition to the war in Iraq. Is that partially what's motivating you?
No, if this happened under anyone's watch, I'd still be doing the same thing.
Why have you fought so hard?
Well, because Pat would want us to. Pat was a pretty honest guy, not a perfect person by any stretch, but he was a very honest person, and he would want us to do this.
Mary Tillman and some of her son's fellow rangers say that before he died, Pat Tillman expressed his fear that if something happened to him, his death would be exploited by the military and used as propaganda. What do you think Pat would think of all this?
He would be, just insanely upset, and then I think, like, when he kind of looked back on it, he just laughed. He'd be like, I can't, this is just criminal. And those would probably be his exact words. This is criminal.
And the biggest thing, that's the thing, is this bullshit government, It's pathetic. It's sick now, No, it's the purpose that, what is going to be a martial art. It's just what the government's trying to do for years. A war hero, to go illegal for war. Pat Thomas, I feel sorry for the mom. And I don't understand how the mother feels seeing her little child die. Supposedly war hero died in an enemy fight by a fellow American man. It's sad. It's sick to my stomach. I'm sad for the family, and rest in peace, Pat Tillman. You know, his death was conspiracy. His death was conspiracy. Death is true. I'm sad. Um, the media is always gonna lie to us. He's PN. Think Pat Tillman's a hero. You know what? The guy he went to the war. Supposedly 9/11. I don't know 9/11 is real or not. Every year we talk about this now, and the more I see it, the more I get it, and people begin to believe it now. Can I trust this government? I don't know. It sickens to my stomach. The government is fake now, and I don't know what to believe anymore. Are we going for war for wrong reasons now? And I'm talking about more about Bin Laden, and it's gonna be so. I'm being more conspiracy theories now. Probably gonna do more of a poster, and I'm gonna check out the Rose pattern of that, hangouts, But this is real. This is legit. And check out the Turkish Sam as well. I think the Turkish Sam had good points about shooting in California and things like that. But what I've seen it, America's government been lying us for years, and I was making a hangout probably tomorrow, maybe 2 weeks, about Watergate. So this is my story. This is my history. Going my thoughts with the bank. You know what? It's sick how to treat Pat Tillman and Pat Tillman's family. I thought how we do this again. Like, this is scary. It's scary. It's sad how we lie for years and years. So, going to end with this show and intro. Before I end the intro, my fun thoughts intro, but I want you to give your thoughts on this Pat Tillman. And how you feel your son or your son life in fire and his fellow soldiers, his fellow warriors kill him. It's sick. It's sad. It's disgusting. My grandfather served in the military. It's disgusting to see the lies. It's the line this country's made of. I don't trust this country anymore. So I don't know what you guys think about this stuff. Pat Tillman, staff, and this bank.